Hi, this is Robbie with Ticknor Photography. I just had a little idea to create a kind of love-themed picture. The idea is to use two tea, or in my case espresso cups, have them facing apart so their handles just touch, and then shine light through them at two separate angles so the shadow cast by each cup is half of a heart, and then they'll combine together to form a whole heart. So it's like it takes two to love or something like that. That's the kind of general theme. I think I'll fill one cup with maybe an espresso and one cup with a tea. So there's a little bit of contrast in the cups themselves. I think I'm gonna have to do this in two layers. Probably I'll use the flash with a beauty dish to capture the actual cups and the content of the cups. Then I'll turn this light off, all the other lights in the room, and I'll use just normal, I have LED kind of clip lights. That will allow me to position each light simultaneously and be able to see and adjust the shadow in real time. And then I will capture that just with a longer shutter speed using the camera. Shot will be basically straight down, so you'll be able to see the shadow, see in the cups. I'm thinking I'll use the 24-70 2.8, looking straight down on the A77, probably at pretty close to 24 millimeters. I have a white foam core with the cup sitting on. I think the setup is relatively easy. The hardest part is going to be aligning the shadows so they look about right. So now, next step is to go make some coffee and tea, fill up my cups, and then we'll start shooting and see if we can make this work. All right, so now we have our coffee and our tea. You can see how the handles of the cups are touching, so that's exactly what we want. These are my two clip lamps that will be casting the shadow, but first I need to get a shot using the flash here that will just capture the top of these cups perfectly. I need to position my camera directly over the top so I can be shooting straight down on this. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do right now. Need to put this into studio mode. So I think we're pretty good with our flash. Now I'm going to start working on the shadows themselves. Gets dark from here. Move you closer so you can see what's going on. All right, I think that looks pretty good. You can definitely see the heart here. So I think with these two images combined, this could work. So let me take some shots right now of this and see what we get. All right, I think that is looking actually pretty good. So let's bring these over into Lightroom and Photoshop. We'll put the two images together and see what we come up with. All right, so now into Lightroom. I didn't take that many shots, but I think I got what we need. So first shot looking down. Ooh, I've got a dirty lens or a sensor. But this one is pretty much just to show the contents of our glasses. And our next shot is pretty much just for the shadows. Because the glasses, because this was natural light, or our lights here, they're covered in shadow. You can't really see what's inside of them. And we're not quite level, we'll have to adjust. So now let's bring these into Photoshop and we'll start putting them together. Alright, so here we are in Photoshop with our layers. So let's try and match them up. Because they're so different, I can't auto-align them. Oops. So let's drop our opacity here, and it looks like, since the camera didn't move, they should be in the same spot, which they pretty much are. This one needs to move over just a smidge, and that looks pretty good. Okay, perfect. So, first things first, we're going to crop this guy because there's a lot of stuff here we don't actually need. Go right here. put it there. Okay, that looks about symmetrical. Alright, that'll do. So now we're slightly cropped. Now let's add in this layer. We're going to add a layer mask. I'm going to invert it so it's completely invisible. Then I'm going to paint it back in with a brush. 85% white. Now we can just paint it in. You can see the difference because it was in shadow. It looks much better when we use the flash. There we go. This one should look almost green. We might add a saturation layer on this to make it look really green because it's green tea. There we go. So now we have our two similar items. Let's see, what does that look like? Okay, there. That's a little bit better. So two similar yet different items. When they cast shadow, they each cast half a heart. When it merges together, it forms a full heart. I like that. Alright, so these shadows here, or highlights, those are kind of distracting. I don't like those. I'm going to get rid of those real quick. I'm going to add a layer, and I'm just going to clone that out. And I'm going to probably make these shadows completely dark so I don't have to worry too much about what this looks like. I can just do this quick and dirty. I'm going to add an adjustment layer in a second to make this, to make these shadows pretty much fully black. So there we go. Now let's add a curves adjustment layer. I'm going to pull this back a lot. I might actually have to add a second one. Okay, so I don't really want this to affect right here so much. So I'm going to add a gradient. Probably something like that. A little bit more. Okay, so this, we're getting pretty close to a quick and dirty edit. We're just a hair off of level. Let's see if I can adjust that. Okay, I think that's a bit better. Now, unfortunately, our heart's not quite in the middle. For a final image, I'd probably use like a puppet warp or a distort and push this over to the right just a smidge. Let's see here. Kind of want to desaturate the outside of this image. So hue and saturation. We'll do something like that. We'll do a gradient. Okay, so that leaves these in color, but removes it from the outside. We'll add another one of those, hue and saturation, to pump up the green for that. I'll invert it, paint that in there to make our green tea a little bit more green, maybe even add a little bit more of our espresso foam. And as a very quick and dirty image, I think we're getting there. So there could still be a few edits to do to this. Probably brighten up some of the whites, dodge and burn a little bit. But as a general theme, I think this works. So I hope you found this somewhat useful. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Otherwise, like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.